Well, you're good. Got my man in here. Got the man, the myth himself. In here, he got first place Friday with the Springans. He's doing drive-bys on people.
That's right, pop. We went 4-0-1, tied with Plunder. Crazy enough, I beat a Cashtira deck, a Runic deck, a Plunder deck, and a Dinosaur. That was the matchup.
Killing them all.
Yeah. 2-0'd everyone except for the Cashtira and obviously the Plunder. And the Flunder guy. The Flunder, I got Fossil Dino game 2, and he had, I drew double Lightning Storm and still couldn't beat him. So, and then the Cashtira, he just board locked me, and he had Ash for my Book of Eclipse. So, yep. So starting off, you got 3 of the main boy Rocky. So on normal summon, he just allows you to add a Sprigans back. He's the best one. The reason you play 3 is because he's the one you want to pitch off of the field spell. He's the best one to pitch. Then next is 2 Brothers. So this is the card you want to Foolish off of the Merrymaker in the combo. So you don't realistically want to draw this guy, because if you do and you Foolish one, he can't bring himself back. And he doesn't really do anything else on summon or anything like Rocky does. So 2 is fine, you always get to see him. 2 Kit. Kit's the extender of the deck. This card's crazy. There's a lot of times where you'll get hand trapped, or your Merrymaker got interrupted, and this is how you extend to make another one, and then you go into Sargus at that point. You got 2 Bronga. So this one is just, the reason you play 2 is because it searches any Spriggan's card in the graveyard. So this is realistically how you get to your follow-up play. There's been some games where attaching a 3rd name from the graveyard is important, like on Exablower and stuff. So having the extra copy has come up a few times in testing, so I like to. And then one of just regular Captain Sargus.
Captain Sargus busted.
Yeah, he is. This card's good. Now the way that I'm playing the deck, you typically don't get to end on your board. You don't end your board with him. But if all things go well, you can make him on your opponent's turn, which gives you another interruption.
I had to run it the hard way.
Yeah. This card, if you do end on this guy, it's deceptively hard to play through a pop. And then the honorary Spriggan's card is Mr. Reggie.
Reggie boy.
Yeah, Reggie. You only need 1. I never this card's super searchable in this deck through the main deck and the extra deck. So I never needed a second one. And then the second honorary, my second favorite normal summon of the deck is Cyberstein.
Oh my lord.
Yeah. We're doing some cheeky things with it. You'll see. And then to go along with the Stein package, you got 1 Jet and 1 Blue.
Look at that ulti, baby.
Yeah, I know, right? Sprite Blue actually is the worst card in the deck. I'd probably...
if you could play something else, you would.
Yeah, I don't know if because I could play other things, but it's still worth playing, but this card comes up 1 in every 10 duels. Normally you don't end on it. In the combo, it is important to get another XYZ on the board, so which I'll show you afterwards, but other than that, no. Now, for hand traps, you got 3 Nib.
Nibbing them.
And then 3 Ash. Just the most generic hand traps. Yeah, it's just, both of these are just, I think it should be in every deck list right now.
The obligatory staples.
Yeah, and now the reason this deck is crazy, this is a created card, man. Tally Ho Spriggans. So this card says, on activation, you can detach up to 3 materials from an XYZ monster. You add any Spriggans monster from your deck to your hand, and then if you detached any materials, you get to special summon Spriggans from your hand or graveyard equal to the number of materials you detached. So in the combo, this card says Rhoda for any Spriggans you need, and then special summon 3 Spriggans. And yeah, this is a berserk card. This card deserves to, if you read these effects, Soul Charge is banned, okay, and Rhoda's at 1, and this is both of them.
In archetype, double search and summon.
Yeah, and on top of that, it has another effect where in the graveyard you can detach an XYZ material from any XYZ on the field and then add it back. So there's times in the Cashtira matchup where you'll take away from Shangri-La, so it can't protect itself from being destroyed because they always big bang one of them off. So it only has 1 material. So you can take away from it at Shangri-La. If they have a Zeus on board, you can detach one of the materials from Zeus. This card's crazy.
That is disgusting.
And then the heart and soul of the deck is the field spell, Gold Golgonda, so we play 3. It just says pitch a Spriggan, special 1 from your extra deck. This is how you start all of your plays. The 2-card combo is this and Merrymaker, or and Rocky. So it's like that card. I wanted to play 3 just so we see it. You can brick on it because it's not a Sprigans card, but and then the next card is Watch. I swear, if the Sprigans main deck monsters did things on summon like that were crazy, this deck would be absurd because their spells are broken. This card is terraforming in its base, and then if you have the field spell, it's Rhoda for any Sprigans, and then you Foolish Burial Sprigans.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, so like these cards have like 5 effects
Nice.
and they're all broken. It's just the Sprigans monsters don't do anything. And then you play 2 Booty, which this card just says activate a field spell from deck. So this gets around dash. Like
Yeah.
that's why, and you play 2 because it's a Sprigans card. So if you open it and you have the field spell already, you can just pitch this card. Worst case scenario. So it's not. Now it does have another effect where if it's on the field and an XYZ monster leaves by a card effect, you target a monster on the field and your opponent can't activate its effect. So it does have like a sort of relevant effect, but it never came up.
Yeah.
And then my favorite card of the deck, besides Tally-Ho is my favorite card, but Sprite Smashers.
That card's kind of nuts.
Yeah, so this card is E-Telly for Sprigans. So, one of the reasons you play Jet is because you can search this card, but this card's also an extender by banishing any of your Sprigans cards. So it's like, this card I do want to play at 3. If I cut blue, it would be for this, but I don't know if I should cut blue. It's just, that's something I'll have to test. But
Yeah, that's
and then one up Branded and High Spirits to get off the kit. This card's very good. You always search it. And then lastly, for spells, 3 Crossout Designator.
Ooh, the crossout.
Yeah. So this deck folds to Nib unless you hard open Regulus or Tally-Ho. And there's certain situations where even if you open them, like you'll have to like do a weird play to Regulus itself to pull Regulus out of the bin. And so I like Crossout because it also like hits like the Imperm and the Ash. So
Essential extra protection for your players.
yeah. And then you have 3 Infinite Impermanences, and this is just the other hand trap I chose to run, which it's just good going like as your 6th card.
Yeah,
if you
it's
draw
good
it
to
going,
see.
if you draw it as your 6th card, it's good. So I can't really think of
Kind of
anything
better
better.
than like Valor at times.
Yeah, it also can be played under a Rise Heart, which Valor can't because it has to go to the graveyard. And then the last trap is Double Cross. So this card has like cool, like unique things, whereas like you can equip an XY.
That's nasty.
Yeah, you equip it to like a material to one of your XYZs, and then it can trigger Sargus to like if you can attach it, like, or you can attach it for Sargus to pop, and then it'll trigger the other Sargus. So it's like it's cool. And worst case scenario, if you end on like a weird hand where you end on like one of the link monsters, you can always just take the monster. So it's just another interruption.
Yeah, that hard take is hard to play through too.
Yeah, it's like that's what I was kind of thinking. I was like, well, the
Like, can you imagine taking a Fenrir or a Unicorn like that before they use the effect?
yeah,
And
it's
then
like,
you get to use it too?
yeah, well, like so Fenrir, it's like there's been a list I've been playing that do play the Kashtira's, so it's like in that situation it would be even more broke.
Yeah.
But most of the time, like you're searching that card just because it helps play around like Book of Eclipses and stuff like that.
Nice form of interruption.
Yep, another form. All right, and then on to the extra deck. You have Double Merrymaker. Just on summon, he Foolish Burials one. That's basically what he does. So it helps trigger, that's very vital to the combo you play too, because if you play against Cash, you don't want it to rip it. And for your follow-up, turn 2, you usually make another one. And so that's why. 1 Exablower.
Now this is weird.
No. So this card came up a lot. I made this a lot more throughout the day than I thought I would. And testing it didn't come up that much. But yesterday, I just like made this almost every game. It's just 2,600 attacking. It like forces an interaction because you can just load it up every turn and then like effectively attempt to pop 3 cards.
Oh my lord.
And it's like, and the cool thing is it doesn't target the cards it pops, it targets the zone. So that like I was playing against the Plunder guy and he had Bluebeard, or Blackbeard, I'm sorry. And I activated its effect and he was like, if he chained it, he only had 1 slot, which was next to the zone I picked. So if he chained it, he was losing the card regardless.
Oh my
so
lord.
like, yeah, so it puts like weird scenarios up.
It's a nuke.
Yeah, basically. 2 of the gigantic Captain Champion Sargus. So he is the other card that we got in Photon Hypernova that makes this deck run. So if you overlay over a Sprigans. If he has an XYZ material, basically, you get to add any Therion or Sprigans card from your deck to your hand, and you can throw him over top of any Sprigans XYZ. So that's why it's like you make Merrymaker and you can just throw him over top of him. So he's like the engine. He's the consistency of the deck. And he's like a disruption on your opponent's turn. This card's crazy. Then for another one, you have an X, and the combo you make this guy to search Cyberstein. He also searches any of the Spriggans guys, like Rocky and Brothers, because they're all machines. So he's just one of the generic XYZs that are good to make. And if you, like, for some reason get hand trapped and he's still on your board, it just puts something that they have to out or else he's follow-up.
Yeah.
So, and then the other obvious XYZ monster you have to play that I think is pretty common is Zeus. In testing, this card also didn't come up. I thought about cutting it, but it was Zeus, so I never did. I was like, this card's mandatory in every deck, even if you don't play XYZs. And it did come up the other day, yesterday. It came up twice, I think. So I'm glad I kept it in. So yeah, you can also make one of the biggest Zeuses out of. You just like overlay all of them on top of it, and it's like you can have like a 6 material Zeus. Now for the other like XYZs, which like a lot of people are kind of wishy-washy on, I played Gallant Granite. So he searches Nib. So it like kind of, it's like, right now board breakers are pretty prevalent, I would say, because of Kashtira, like Eclipse and all that. So searching Nib gives you a little bit of protection from that stuff. Nib's also really good. It's also just a good XYZ to make if you're gonna make Zeus. Like there was one game where I made it, searched Nib, attacked with it, killed something, and then threw a Zeus over top of it. And I was like, I got Nib and Zeus next turn, there's no way I die. So, now the spice is Evil Swarm Nightmare.
Explain this card.
So this card is old. This card, I think the last time this card got played was like PK. There might have been another one.
Yeah, I think it was like the PK rank up shit.
Yeah, so it requires 2 dark monsters, which funny enough, Spriggan's Kit is a dark. And most of the time in the combo, which I'll show you, you'll end with double Spriggan's Kit, so you can make it. Now, this card against Kashtira absolutely blows them out. So they'll summon Unicorn, you'll book it. And then if they have the extender, which is Birth, they'll Birth, then they'll go Rise Hard, and then you just book the Rise Hard. And then they have 2, like, basically, like, you just keep booking their monsters. Or when you let them summon the Rise Heart, and then when they make Shangri-La or whatever XYZ, you just book that guy. And then they're just stuck with 2 monsters that are booked, and they just can't keep doing anything. But, this card's crazy. It's also not bad into Despia. It kind of keeps you alive sometimes, so I do like it. And then you have Gigantic Sprite, which you'll see how we make it in the combo. It's pretty cool. It's like at the topper of your board. And then Gin Buster. This is why you play Sprite Blue, just because you can end on Gin Buster, which is another negate.
Yeah, Gin Buster's hard to play through.
Yeah, it doesn't destroy, which is rough, but the cool part about this deck is because of him, technically this negates and destroys because you just pop the card with him.
That's hot.
And then for links, you have Platinum Gadget, which is very vital in the combo. This is also how you make Gigantic, because it can't be used as link material, but that doesn't mean it can't be used as XYZ material. And then Cleafort Genius.
Next, let's play this card.
Yeah, so this card, it just takes 2 machines, and if you going second, it has an ability where it can negate cards on the field. So it's unaffected by spell and trap effects and activated effects of other link monsters, which doesn't really come up. And then it says once per turn you can target 1 face-up card on each player's fields, except for this card. Both of those cards have their effects negated until the end turn. So like, if they have like a floodgate or like
something you want to like spot negate.
Yeah, something like that. But the real reason you play this is because when 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time to its arrows, you get to add 1 level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck. So in the combo, you basically, if you don't open Regulus, you get to add Regulus off of this card. And if you open Regulus, you can always add Bronga.
Yeah. So either way, like, you get to search the cards that you need.
Yeah. This card is very versatile, and it's a machine, so it helps make Platinum Gadgets, so it's never dead. Because this card can be used as link material, funny enough. Like most of the cards that came out of like Dupo and Duov and
can't
stuff.
Can't be used as material.
Yeah, but this one can. Well, funny enough, I don't know why they decided that this one didn't.
Yeah, I can dig it.
And then for the last ones, you play 1 Sprint because of the Brandon High Spirits thing, and then you play 1 Exterio. This card's crazy.
The guard card.
Yeah, this card single-handedly won me my last round because I just made it against a Flunder player and he had
Nice
evenly,
spells, bud.
yeah, he had evenly pot of desires and prosperity and pot of duality, and I just negated everything.
Yeah, you're not playing Bucko.
Yeah, they just don't play. And against branded, this card, like, they have a hard time outing this card.
100%.
And then for the side, real weird. The side was like heavily towards like clearing boards, as you can tell. So it was double enemy controller. So this card is more for like Ibli, for Kashtira. It's like Ibli and just Kashtira in general. So I'm not siding Link Bows, and I'm not maining them.
Yeah.
So if they give me an Ibli, really, like realistically, my only out to it is like this card or Book of Eclipse, or like a way of getting it off the board. So funny enough, in this deck you can actually Smasher's Ibli too, because it's a level 2.
Oh yeah, that is right.
So you do have like built like a main deck out, but we don't play like Bystials or anything, so we can't tribute over it.
Yeah.
So like this card just also like fully outs the Kashtira board. It makes it real rough for him. So
Tribute, take, putting all stuff is pretty good.
We got 3 Book of Eclipses, also just to help out the Kashtira board. Funny enough, there's a lot of outplay potential with this card too, which is why I like it. I was going to get nibbed at one point, and I booked my entire board so it didn't get nibbed.
So yeah, because it has tribute face cards.
Yeah, so it's
Big
like...
brain.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool interactions with this card that I like. And then...
Do you think that should be in everyone's side deck?
This card, either this or a Lunar Eclipse. I don't necessarily think that this card's good for Kashtira. I think Lunar Eclipse is better like in the mirror if you're playing Cash. But like in this version specifically, I like it because like I said, it helps like this card can also help you dodge imperms. Like if you summon Merrymaker and by pitching Rockies and they try to imperm it, you can book the Merrymaker so it still sins, and then you can just hard make another Merrymaker and then continue your combo.
Make combo on.
Yeah. And then we have 3 Lightning Storms. So this deck is like back row's kind of scary. Like Floodgates kind of hit. Like Floodgates don't hit this deck super hard, but like certain ones are rough. Like you really can't get around a
Tikaboo.
Yeah, Tikaboo's really rough. Summon Limit's kind of rough. There's outs. Like if you draw a field spell, you can make Exablower, and you can attempt to pop those cards. But if they have any other form of like interaction, you just probably lose the game. So like back row decks scare me. Labyrinth is pretty scary because like removal is good against this deck. Like if you just remove Merrymaker, I can't make Sargus. So like these cards were like, I was like, this card's pretty good. It can also help out a lot of the cash cards. It doesn't out Shangri-La, but it does, it does enough.
Yeah, you can leave them alone, just that and still play.
Yeah, and then a Harpies, same thing. It was like a back row scares me.
100%.
And then we got 3 evenly matched because this card's good against back row decks. It's also good against Despia.
They don't have any out like negates.
Yeah, they don't really make any hard negates, so it's pretty good. And then lastly is D-Barrier. This card's a god card right now.
100%.
Like if you flip this card against Despia, you win. Kashtira is the only one where this card's like not good.
They can summon a bunch of bodies.
Yeah, their guys are huge, so they can still kill you. This card you also feel like you should play because if they side it into you, because it's pretty good because they call it Xyz, you can cross this card. You cross out.
Oh yeah.
And that's the only card that that interacts with this card right now.
I need to play Crossout inside.
Yeah, Crossout's great. I love Crossout right now. I think Crossout's very underrated. But yeah, let me show you the combo real quick. It's 2 cards. So 2 cards, or not this card. 2 cards get you a pretty decent board, but if you open this card plus any machine, so we'll just say that this is a machine, your board is like full combo and like it goes kind of crazy. So you'll start by going Golgonda, you pitch the Rockies, you'll summon out Merrymaker, you'll trigger Merrymaker, which dumps Brothers. So when Brothers is dumped, he reborns Rocky, and then Rocky adds Brothers back. So now we'll normal summon the Brothers, and then this is where this goes into effect. So you link both of those off to make Genius. And then you equip both of these back to the Merrymaker by their own effects. And then you'll slam down good old Captain Sargus over top of them. And then Sargus adds Tally-Ho. You'll activate Tally-Ho by detaching all 3 materials from Sargus. You add Spriggan's Kit. And then you go Special Kit, Special Brothers and Special Rocky. And you want to special 2 of them to the zone, so that way it triggers Genius. So now this is the reason why you only have to open 1 machine. So you'll go chain link 1 Kit, 2 Genius, 3 Sargus to bounce your gold Golgonda back to your hand. So now you'll go, you'll add Regulus, and this card adds High Spirits.
Well,
And then you'll tuck the gold Golgonda. So you tuck that on the bottom for Kit. Then you go and you make these 2. You turn those into Geargian X. You detach to add our good old boy Stein. And then you'll link these 2 off. And the Platinum Gadget. So Platinum Gadget's effect special summons a machine to a zone it points to, so you can special summon Stein to that zone. You'll pay 5,000. Summon Exterio. And now, before you do the Stein play, you could have also summoned Regulus. That way you're like protected from Nib. So you can just assume that like that's there before you summon Stein, and then summon Exterio. And then you'll go overlay these 2 for Gigantic. Then you'll go Brandon and High Spirits. You pitch whatever machine you drew plus him. It adds Kit to your hand. You can now special Kit because you have a fusion that's in the graveyard. And then this is where you can make either Gallant Granite if you want to add Nib. You can make Nightmare if you want to like book things. So it's depending on the matchup. Typically, if I'm going into game 1, I always add Gallant Granite. And it gets me a Nib. So like you would get a Nib here. And then you go.
And you still have 3 cards in your hand too.
Yeah, you still 2 technically.
Oh, 2?
2 technically.
Yeah.
But you're gonna replace one of them at the end phase with this guy.
Yeah.
So it. But then you'll detach. You'll summon. Why am I looking at that? You'd summon Jet here in this situation, and then Jet can add either Smashers or a Double Cross. In this situation, like this board, I would add Smashers just because it's not only a disruption, but if you don't have to disrupt them, it's an extender next turn, so it gets your play started. But if you don't want to play around Nib, you can hold the Regulus. You could have held the Regulus if you wanted to. I always like ended it. If you don't end on Regulus, you can summon blue grab Jet, summon Jet, and then make Gin Buster. Like if you had to use the Regulus to negate a Nib, you could summon blue, and then you end on Gin Buster as well. But I like having Regulus because Regulus is better. So in this situation, I would end on Smashers, and then you have Nib in your hand, and then during the end phase, this guy adds any Springans from your deck to your hand. So you would go, you would typically add Rocky. Because when you normal Rocky, you get to get Kit back, and that makes any rank 4. So it's like guaranteed like rank 4 play as long as you don't get interrupted. Which you have Nib, so.
Yeah, like the Exterion with the follow-up to protect Exterion if you need to like out something and try to run it over. It's just like, but he's so big. What is he, 35 or 28? So
yeah, he's 28. He's 28. The one thing that this deck like really like kind of gets wrecked by is Lava Golem. But that's why, like, in this situation, adding the Nib is fine. If they Lava Golem, they probably Lava Golem Exterio and Sargus. So then you still have Regulus and Smashers live and Nib. So it's like, and the cool thing is if, like you play a bunch of searching cards. So if you, like, open Watch or you open Tally Ho or, like, you can usually get Baranga. And if you dump Baranga, like with the High Spirits, instead of like, because I randomly just grabbed the worst one, which was Sargus. But if you dump Baranga, you get to banish Baranga in any Spriggans, and then you add Tally Ho. So that way you get to set Tally Ho as well. And then on your opponent's turn, you get to Tally Ho. After you Smashers your Jet away, you can Tally Ho for Sargus. And it detaches a material, so it triggers your guy. So it's like, this card gives you follow-up and becomes an interruption.
That's so disgusting.
Yeah. The deck is really cool. Like I said, there is, sometimes you can brick because you're playing a lot of like weird cards, like you can open Bronga. As long as you see Field Spell though, you're playing the game, and like it's pretty insane. But yeah, we're gonna try another list soon. Like I have a Cashtira list built, so we're gonna end up trying that. But yeah, y'all should definitely give the deck a chance. Pretty fun.
Absolutely. Thank you, G.
Hey, no